This year's NBA draft is very important for the Portland Trail Blazers. Not only do they have a lottery pick, but they also have a late first round pick as well as a mid second round pick. Welcome to Prospect Watch, where I give you a list of prospects to do some research on, as well as a little bit of information on them as a player, so that you can be prepared for this year's NBA draft. In each of these videos, I'm going to focus on a specific pick and players in that range. Today, we're starting off with the 23rd pick, which the Blazers got from the New York Knicks in the Josh Hart trade. These are some of the prospects that you should keep an eye on in that range. So we're going to start off with my favorite prospect that could potentially be available at this pick, and that is Dereck Lively II out of Duke University. He's a center listed at 7'1". It'll be interesting to see what he measures in the NBA draft combine, but he was a highly regarded recruit, struggled during the first half of the year at Duke, but really came on strong in the second half of the season. He's a great shot blocker. He averaged 2.4 blocks per game in only 21 minutes. That extrapolates out to 4.2 blocks per 36. Of course, that is college basketball, so you will have some more wild block and steal numbers at times, but in general, Lively's very lengthy. He's quick off the floor, and he has good shot blocking instincts, and he's also somewhat mobile. So I like him as a good defensive big man that could potentially play right away because I think he could be a true legitimate plus. The Blazers need to address their backup center spot this year, and Dereck Lively could be the answer. I also like a little bit of the feel that he's shown in short roll situations. I don't think his jump shot is completely broken. I think maybe after a couple years he could develop a little bit of a three-point shot. He didn't shoot the ball well in college, only 15% from three, only 60% from the free throw line, but that was only on 1 attempt per game, so that's a very small sample. I do think there is some sneaky upside with some of his offensive skill development, but even if he doesn't develop those skills, I think Lively's a guy that can be a really good rim running, lob catching big man that is a major plus on the defensive side of the ball. Another player to watch is Kris Murray, who's the twin brother of Keegan Murray, who just had a good rookie season for the Sacramento Kings. Kris Murray is not as good as Keegan was, but given Keegan's success, I could definitely see a team liking Kris Murray before the Blazers' 23rd pick, but if the Blazers sit there at 23 and don't trade that pick, then I could see them viewing Kris Murray as a guy that could come in and play a rotation spot right away. Now, the one thing with Kris Murray is he did not shoot the three ball as well his final season in college as Keegan did. He only shot 33.5%, but he averaged 20 points per game, shot 48% from the field, should be an okay defender. If he can bump that three-point percentage up a little bit and be a 36% three-point shooter, then he should be just fine as an NBA role player. Some other background information: he came out of Iowa just like Keegan did. He's 6'8" and would probably play the power forward position. He will be almost 23 years old on draft night. Now, if the Blazers potentially make a trade that leaves them a bit thin at the guard positions, a player I really like for them with the 23rd pick is Colby Jones out of Xavier. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife type of player. Tankathon lists his height at 6'6". It'll be interesting to see what he measures, but if he's tall enough, he's a guy that could play three positions: point guard, shooting guard, or small forward. He averaged 15 points per game, almost 6 rebounds, and 4.5 assists at Xavier, while shooting 51% from the field and 38% from three. The one thing I need to do more research on with Colby Jones is the defensive side of the ball, but offensively, he just seems like a guy that'll be able to play on or off the ball, be a guy that can make plays for others, has a little bit of slashing ability, and can rebound the ball decently well. He would kind of fill that Josh Hart sixth man role that I always idealized for Josh Hart in Portland, but unfortunately we never got to see play out. He'll be barely 21 years old on draft night, so he's in between some of the younger and some of the older players in this draft, and I think he could truly come in and play a role right away for a solid NBA team. Speaking of the guard route, I think Marcus Sasser is a guy who could come in right away and be a solid backup point guard. He's 6'2", a senior out of the University of Houston, will be almost 23 years of age on draft night, but was phenomenal for Houston, which was one of the best teams in college basketball last season. Averaged 17 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds while shooting 38% from three and 44% from the field. So I think he's a guy that will be able to make plays and knock down three-point shots. He also projects as an average to above average average defender. Houston was a really solid defensive team, and despite his lack of size, I think he should be able to compete on that end. But of course, he'd only make sense for the Blazers if they traded out some of their backcourt depth for frontcourt depth. Leonard Miller is a guy that I really like as an upside swing here with the 23rd overall pick. There was a chance for him to be in the draft last year, but he dropped out, and he's still only 19 and a half years of age coming out of the G League Ignite. Tankathon lists him as 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan. That's another guy I'll be interested to see measure, as I think he could potentially be an intriguing small ball 5 option whose natural position is the power forward spot. In the G League, he averaged 17 points per game in almost 30 minutes. To go along with 10 rebounds, he shot 54% from the field and 30% from 3. Did shoot 79% from the free throw line, so there is some hope that that 3-point percentage could get better. But I just like him because he can handle the ball a little bit. He can finish on the inside. He's kind of a creative, crafty offensive player. And players like that with legitimate size, which he seems to have, are always very intriguing and have a chance of becoming really good NBA players. Before getting to the G League, he showcased some passing ability. We didn't really see that play out. He only averaged 1.5 assists per game, but there is still some hope that he could tap into that long term in his NBA career. And then he rebounds extremely well, 10 rebounds per game. And he's also a mobile, fluid athlete. With that size, there is hope that he could be a really good defensive player. That is something I need to dive into more of the tape on, but I suggest you do the same and let me know what you think. I really like Leonard Miller, though, as a guy that could come in and maybe be a solid NBA player, just finishing around the rim, hopefully knocking down occasional threes, and then rebounding the ball at the power forward position, with the upside to potentially be a lot more. Sidy Cissoko is a guy who's risen up draft boards lately. He's listed as a 6'5" shooting guard, but supposedly has a super long wingspan. So that's another one of those guys where I'm really interested to see his measurements at the draft combine. He played for the G League Ignite with Leonard Miller and averaged almost 12 points per game, 3 assists and 3 rebounds, shooting 44% from the field and 31% from 3. But with him, it's all upside with his athleticism, fluidity, playmaking, flashes, as well as defensive potential. He's the type of raw project coming into the league that I could see being a really good NBA player years down the line. Of course, it's kind of a crapshoot with guys like these, but he does have intriguing tools and he's shown intriguing flashes of different types of things. He'll barely be 19 years old on draft night, so there's a lot of time to develop a guy like that. That's definitely a guy to pay attention to. And then you have Gigi Jackson, who was the #1 recruit in the high school class of 2023 and then reclassified up to the class of 2022 and played at South Carolina last year. He's listed as 6'9" and a power forward, and can do some very intriguing things off the dribble in terms of chaining together combination moves and step back jumpers, and he's a solid athlete. And when you get a guy like that who's only going to be 18 and a half years of age on draft night with his athletic gifts and the high level moments of shot creation he had last year, then it's really hard to pass up on that, because guys like that will always have a ton of potential. If they can put it together, they'll be really, really good NBA players. But there are a lot of red flags with Gigi Jackson, which might just be due to his youth and being a guy who turned 18 years old during his freshman year of college basketball. But he had bad moments of body language at times last year. He wasn't efficient, shooting only 38% from the field and 32% from 3. Didn't pass the ball hardly at all. He averaged 0.8 assists in 32 minutes per game. But granted, he was playing for a South Carolina team that had almost no talent around him. That team was really bad, and it's not like Jackson had good options to pass the ball to. But the question with him is, if he doesn't completely maximize all his potential, can he be a role player in the NBA? Can he coexist next to better players? Can he be a little bit more picky with his shot selection? And can he compete on the defensive end? Does he have a defensive motor? There's so many questions in regards to Jackson as a role player. I highly suggest you watch some of the film and some of the negatives, and let me know what you think about him as a prospect. Now, these are just the top prospects that I'm looking at in this range right now. Of course, there's a lot of other guys that could be taken in this range that could be steals. If you have opinions on guys I didn't mention in this video, feel free to share them down in the comment section below. And over on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Live, where we stream Mondays and Thursdays, going live at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time, we will have a lot more discussion around various draft prospects, especially late in the first round. You can come join our live chat and actually talk to us live about whoever you want to. Share with me your favorite prospects down in the comment section below, and leave a like on the video if you like this type of draft content. I will have more coming up. We will have a draft lottery live stream on May 16th, which is barely over a week away, and I'm excited to get geared up for the draft. Subscribe if you haven't already, and with that being said, I'm out of here. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.